Questions were raised on Tuesday whether the EU had reached its one-dose vaccination target of 70% of adults. Later in the day, a spokesman said not all member states had done so. NTD's El Rhodes has the details.
A European Commission spokesperson said on Tuesday not all member states had reached the milestone of 70% of adults receiving a first dose of a COVID-19 vaccine.
Indeed, we have noticed that not all member states have reached the same level of vaccination. Many member states have made very important progress. This allows us to say today, for instance, that 70% of adult population has received at least one dose, but we are not there yet.
His comment follows European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen's announcement that the 27-nation bloc had achieved the goal.
Our target was to protect 70% of adults in the European Union with at least one dose of vaccination in July. Today we have achieved this target.
The EU launched its digital COVID certificate system for travel earlier this month. The Commission says it's fielding a large number of third country requests to join it.
We have been approached by many countries that are interested in the EU digital COVID certificate, and we're very glad about this, of course.
It allows EU residents to move freely among member states, but only if they meet certain conditions. It includes receiving one of the 4 authorised vaccines, having a fresh negative test, or having proof of recently recovering from the virus. Earl Rhodes, NTD News.
The Italian drugs regulator today green-lighted the use of Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine in teenagers. It follows the European Medicines Agency's recommendation of the vaccine for the same age group last week. NTD's Eddie Aiken has the story.
Italian regulators approved the use of Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine for teenagers on Wednesday. The Italian Medicines Agency said in a statement, "The available data demonstrate the efficacy and safety of the vaccine also for subjects in this age group." It comes after the European Medicines Agency, or EMA, recommended approving the use of the vaccine for teens last week. The agency said the shot produced a comparable antibody response to that seen in the 18 to 25-year-olds. Some European countries say vaccinating children is important to reach herd immunity as the Delta variant continues spreading. On the other hand, 3 recent studies from the UK indicate teenagers and children are at very low risk of becoming severely ill or dying from the disease, and children were found to be unlikely to be spreaders of the virus. In May, the EMA recommended approval of Pfizer's vaccine for teen use. Eddie Aitken, NTD News.
Starting in August, patrons of restaurants and bars in France need to show a COVID-19 health pass. The head of one restaurant says she prefers more rules to closing down again. NTD's David English has more.
At this Paris restaurant, reactions to the new COVID-19 health pass requirement are mixed. The restaurant's director says it makes things more complicated, but they prefer it to another lockdown.
We prefer having to work with rules and be stricter with our customers than having to close and not being able to work.
A new French law will soon require a health pass to enter restaurants and bars, as well as many other venues and services. The government argues that the pass is essential to deal with rising cases of the Delta variant.
This health pass, contrary to the fantasies of some of those who confuse freedom with individualism, is the best way to protect our freedom and guarantee that our country remains open as widely as possible.
None of the restaurant's customers were enthusiastic.
The main goal is to avoid another lockdown. That's unbearable for shop owners, for us, for everybody. If that's the solution, then we have to do it, but it's a bit of a nuisance. With regards to our freedoms, it's a bit complicated for some. It feels like we're not really given a choice, but like I said, we have to adapt, and it's going to be how life is tomorrow.
To get the pass, people must show proof they are fully vaccinated, recently tested negative, or recovered from the virus. The government's latest measures have prompted large-scale protests in recent days. Protesters say the pass disproportionately infringes on their liberties. The pass will be required starting on the 9th of August. David English, NTD News.
Residents in a German town cut off by floods are happy about a lifeline, an emergency rowing boat on a wire across the river. NTD's Joy Duguid has more on this.
In this western German town, the recent floods destroyed almost all the bridges. Residents of Bad Neuenahr-Ahrweiler have had a hard time getting across the river to the other side of town. But now they welcome an alternative solution, an emergency rowing boat on a wire.
We're very happy that the service exists so that we can get to the other side, because we live here on the mountainside of Bad Neuenahr, and this is the only way you can go if you need to go to town.
Members of the German Federal Agency for Technical Relief, or THW, provide the boat service. That's as they build a new temporary bridge nearby as fast as they can.
Of course, it was a special challenge that we encountered here. That means we initially had about 5 to 7 days of preparation time before we could start building this bridge. That means we first had to create space because of all the floating debris washed up by the floods.
He says the bridge will be 51 metres long and be able to carry heavy equipment too, crucial for the ongoing clean-up and recovery work. Authorities say emergency workers from the THW are proving essential in the flood-hit areas, where the infrastructure could take weeks, if not months, to repair.
The THW is doing a terrific job here.
More than 170 people died in this month's flooding, Germany's worst natural disaster in more than half a century. THW aims to have the bridge completed by the week after next and build 3 more. Joy Duguid, NTD News.
In Parma, Italy's capital of culture, a large museum complex is reopening after renovation. The works on display include an unfinished Leonardo da Vinci portrait. NTD's El Rhodes has the story.
Parma, a small city in North Italy, is welcoming visitors to its newly renovated museum. The Pilotta Museum complex includes the Farnese Theatre, built in 1618, thought to be the first modern theatre in the Western world.
I never saw a theatre this big and made of wood like this, and it's breathtaking when you enter, and it's so big and you know it's so old, and it's well preserved, and it's really impressive.
When Simone Verde took charge, the complex was divided up. Potentially stunning spaces were off limits and being used as junk rooms. These spaces are now renovated and open to the public.
Our job from the beginning has been to incorporate scientifically under one management what had been unjustly divided up from the points of view of the museum, the history and the philology.
The site was built in the late 16th century. In the early 19th century, Maria Luigia, the second wife of Napoleon and Duchess of Parma, decided to turn it into art and museum spaces. At the Parma National Gallery of Art and the National Archaeological Museum in the complex, visitors can now appreciate many of the works on show. These include Leonardo da Vinci's Scapiata, an unfinished portrait of a young woman with dishevelled hair.
I'm impressed finding pictures like this one, because we didn't know that there was a Leonardo painting here.
As part of the nearly £5 million renovation, digital technology has been put to good use. Visitors can use huge touchscreen tables to find out all they want about the works on show. Parma currently holds the title of Italy's capital of culture. Earl Rhodes, NTD News.
That's the news for today, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Stuart Leith. Thank you for watching our daily news show on YouTube. You can also watch our other programming on channel 190 on Sky TV or on Freeview via channel box on channel 271. In the meantime though, please give this video a like and hit subscribe to our channel. Have a good day.